Now let's understand what are enums. Now enums are short form for enumerators and enumerables, and enums are essentially used to provide names for integer constants, which makes the contract better for maintenance and readability. And enums are they can be declared outside a contract. Let's say we have this contract right over here. We can declare it over here by using this word keyword known as enum. Let's say we had a enum for book, and we can just assign that for book is available is available, and we can use that, right? We can assign the enumerables outside a function or outside a contract or even inside a contract, right? We can do in both manner. Cool. So now by using enums, they can be useful. They can be useful in reducing the, if we have a limited amount of set, a limited amount of data for your code, right? And hence by using enumerables or enumerators, they help in reducing the bugs in our code, right? So now let's move ahead and understand it with an example. Let's say make an enumerable of user. Let's say we are going to be having this contract right over here, and let's say make a enum for user, right? And this user is going to be allowed, and is going to be adding a not allowed right over allowed. Then we will be adding a wait listed, right? So this enumerable of user is set to be allowed, not allowed, and wait list, right? So now let's print that up. Let's say if we're going to be adding a user, right? User is going to be a public function, public keyword. User status is equals to user dot allowed. Now what this means is, you can think of it this entire enum user as an object, right? Now what this means is essentially we are accessing this index value. Let's say we are accessing this allow by using allow dot user dot allowed. We can also access user dot not allowed and user dot waitlisted, right? And by do that, just think about yourself, what you're going to be seeing as an output. We just compile that up, compile and show the output. You will see the index value for this thing, right? So right now the allowed is set to be at the 0. So right now every time in the index value, they every time start with 0, then it's move ahead to 1, 2, 3 and so on and so forth, right? So if I set this enumerable or enumerable to user dot allowed, we will give, if we deploy the contract, and we will see this user status is going to be 0, right? It is 0 because we are accessing this index which is at 0, present 0 value. Now we are also, let's say if I just add waitlist and again deploy the contract. Now first thing we need to compile that, and then we need to deploy that contract. Deploy. We will see now it's set to 2 because it is this going to be a 0. So this is essentially is going to be a 0 value, this is going to be a 1 value, and this is essentially going to be a 2 value, right, at the 2 index. Now this is going to be show us 2, right? It's going to be 2, right? So that's how we can use enumerable in our code. Now let's move ahead and understand, and let's just make a simple contract to make it more, to understand it more in more brief manner, right? So let's say make a event. Let's say make a event of let's say public, a public of owner, and this owner, not add owner because we are using this as a score right over here. Let's make it 100, right? So now what we're going to be using is we making a function this function is essentially going to be an owner function, right? And we are setting this function as public because we are going to be using this and we want to see the function, right? So yeah, we have this public function. Now let's add some if statements. Let's say that status the user status is equals to user dot wait list, or let's say allowed. Then what we're going to be doing is essentially we are going to be setting the score as 0, right? So yeah, so if the user status is set to user dot allowed, which means if the this status now the status is set to, now if you look at this, it's set to 2, right? Now this saying that if the user status is set to user dot allowed, which is essentially equals to 2 equals to 1, then it will set the 0 back to 1, right? But it is not equal to that, so it means the score is going to be equal to 100 itself, right? Again, just compile the contract, deploy this, we will see the score thing at 200 because it is equals to 1 and it is equals to 2. That's why this score is unable to set right over here, right? After deploying the contract, if we check the score, it's showing us 100 because uh, it's setting a default value of score. After running this owner function, it's check if the user status is equals to user dot allowed, and if it is equal to that, then it turned back to score is equal to 100. Score went back it to 0. Right now, user dot status is set to user dot waitlist. Hence, this allocating function would not work. So if we just check the score, it stays as it is. If I change the user dot waitlist to user dot allowed and then compile the contract and again deploy this and check the score function, it's showing me 100. And when I call the owner function and then check the score, it's showing me 0, which means now the user dot allowed is equals to user dot allowed status. Hence, the score went back to 0.